And Ben, you talked before about the style in terms of brick and weatherboard. Let's use Melbourne or cities as an example, but you get these beautiful old character properties that punch well above their weight for return, right? If 7% gives you a 10-year doubling cycle, these old charms often do it shorter period of time. They've usually got an outperformance, right? But it's important to understand, to get that outperformance, you will need to tap into a little bit of that outperformance to maintain it. Quite often they have stump issues. Quite often it's difficult to actually get a builder to look underneath the floors. So you have to make a judgment call. Just be mindful of the personality that you are. If you don't like surprises, you're probably not suited to some of these weatherboard charmers, because you literally cannot get under some of them, and then you might find later. Because in the journey of owning these older style properties, on the pro side, you're going to get the outperform result. On the con side, you're probably going to get a higher maintenance than you would for brick, for example. And sometimes you might be planning for that maintenance to happen in 10 years' time, and all of a sudden you buy it, and 18 months later you see something when you think, oh, I kind of hope that wasn't going to happen now. But you get it back in spades, and you're leveraging some of the growth that comes from it. It's just important to be realistic around that, because everyone talks about the charm of these period homes, but there are things that you need to consider. And if you are a personality type that you like certainty, you like predictability, just keep it in mind. You might be more suited to buy in the same suburb a brick house that doesn't have that same outperform result, but it gives you more certainty around your expenses. So that's something to keep in mind as well, because I've seen it many, many times where they get 9s and 10% per annum compounding growth performance, Ben. So they are amazing on the balance sheet, but they can give some cash flow anxiety to people when they're trying to get to that maintenance issue.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the end of the day, most people who are looking at property, and when they work out what their top 3 deal doers are versus deal breakers are, what you'll find is that people will make that decision based on the reflection of who they are. Some people are super house proud and they want that status and appeal. Other people are like practicality. Just does everything I need it to do. And if I want to work on the garden or whatever, I can do that. Land size. Obviously, we talked before about busy roads and, what are you going to compromise on? We recommend you steer clear of busy roads, but we do see people who are buying those properties because ultimately they've worked past the busy road concept because they've got themselves into the right suburb, a suburb that they feel really comfortable in, maybe safety and those types of things and security. And that was all part of the buyer's decision. As an investor, again, we want that mainstream appeal, but we don't want to potentially be looking at very homogenistic sort of stock because that individualization that you can potentially achieve will do nothing for you, because ultimately your property is going to be compared to the other stock going forward. And that's why we've been always very careful about and cautious about medium high density from a supply point of view, but also from the fact that it's just homogenistic. And then if someone's a desperate seller, your property is going to be valued against that desperate seller price point. So that's something that's really important. Obviously, the final one there is land size. At the end of the day, it's land that appreciates. That is the thing that does most of the heavy lifting. But when you get into those character and charming locations, people invest in their properties, and that pulls the land value up over time. Because at the end of the day, all properties are technically depreciating in terms of wear and tear in their cost base.